I moved here, I really saw that it's a bigger market. Obviously, it has more opportunities. And then I got connected that I need to make sure that I stay here and prove myself and grab those opportunities that are there for.
I would like to take this opportunity, and we are beyond excited to welcome someone who has been true guiding light in both of our careers, Zubair Khan. He's not just a mentor, but someone who taught us the power of taking ownership, of seeing the unseen, and truly letting speak the data when it says data speak volumes. Zubair has constantly encouraged us to make data driven decisions, recognizing that every piece of data has a story to tell. His unique approach to leadership has empowered us and countless others to approach challenges with both insight and integrity. With his vast expertise in supply chain operations, human resource, employee relation, and talent acquisition, he has shown us what it means to lead by example and what informed choices. It's a huge honor to have him on our podcast today. Welcome, Zubair.
Welcome, Zubair.
Thanks, Aishi. Thanks.
So, Zubair, what was your journey and what motivated you to move to Canada?
To be very honest, initially it was more about family. When I moved here, it was my start of my journey back home in my professional career. So it would be hard for me to say that I wasn't really successful there because I at that point I just started. But when I moved here, I really saw that it's a bigger market. Obviously, it has more opportunities. And then I got connected that I need to make sure that I stay here, I prove myself and grab those opportunities that are there for new immigrants because this country definitely welcomes you for that. And it does provide you an opportunity to work with diverse environment, which provides you a learning opportunity itself. So yeah, initially, like I said, it was more for family, but then it really helped me and motivated me to excel in my professional career as well and growth. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And what were some of the highs and lows along the way?
When I came here, I don't even remember. So when I came here, I was working in a reputable organization, a good position. When I came here as a new immigrant, you're the one who are coming in to this environment. You have to make sure you learn how things are here rather than try to change things here to begin with and settle in. I was in that phase at that point that I don't want to do any odd jobs. I don't want to do anything as an entry level job. And I would like to find a job that I was doing back home. I'm sure a lot of immigrants are. I wasn't settling in. There was a fight going on inside me that I need to find that job or I'm not staying here. It took time. I did started working frontline jobs as I found them and made my way up to, in my professional career. I think I've learned from it because if you don't do that, you're not really learning from the experience from the ground level, but also you're not actually utilizing the opportunity that you can get to go on in the market to work with these amazing talent that we have here in Canada and really learn from it. I would have been wasting my time if I would have just stayed home and keep searching for jobs and applying. I didn't do that. I started working in a warehouse and then from one warehouse to another warehouse. And from there, my journey picked up and I think I did the right thing. I got right mentors. I got right guidance, not just from my friends, families, but also from my professional colleagues as well. So that really helped me. There were a lot of highs and a lot of lows. I'm sure still are. This is part of life. So it will come. If those are not there, that means you're not learning. That means you're not growing. You're not moving. I'm a person who likes to be challenged. I don't want to be sitting in a comfortable environment because the moment you go in the comfortable environment, that means you're basically not learning anything. So I like to be challenged. So there's will be a lot of highs. There will be a lot of lows. And I'm sure there were in the past. There will be more coming in the future as well.
Thank you, Zubair. So, with this, I want to ask one more question. So, what was your first job in Canada?
I did work as a picker in one of the organization here. And I didn't stay in that job for that long. So literally, because coming with, like I said, in that mindset, right? I was not settling in. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? I have an MBA. I'm an engineering background. Like, what am I doing? Like, why am I picking boxes? Um, And that's bad of me, to be very honest. I realized it after I've learned from the hard way. And I left the job. Like after 15, 20 days, I believe I left the job. It's like, I don't want to do it. To be very honest, that was the time after leaving the job. I realized that I think I need to focus. I cannot be sailing in two moors. I was thinking I'll go back to Pakistan from where I came from and just stay there. But on the other hand, I was also thinking this is a great opportunity. I should stay here and progress. So I think at that point, I decided that I need to stop sailing in two moors and really grab the big opportunity that I've got and really work towards it. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, that was the first job, but then the second job was also pretty much in the warehouse. I was feeding candies to the line that you guys probably grab from Walmart, Shoppers, all those brands. So one of the warehouse that was providing that service to these companies, yeah, I did pack a lot of candies back then for Christmas in those years.
I think one of the key takeaways from your journey would be basically don't carry your baggage to here and unlearn to learn the new processes or the new culture just to be more
Yeah,
integrated with the system.
100% agree. I always tell this to the people that are coming here and new, and they connect with me and say that you're the one coming into their environment. You're the one coming in our shoes now because we've been here. We own this country. You need to settle in. I mean, you cannot demand to change the things on day one. Understand why the things are how they are. And then obviously create some impact. There are two ways. I mean, you can always, I mean, I'm not saying that you people coming in new with vast in my experience won't get an opportunity the way they were working back, like the back home. I'm sure they will. I'm sure there are people who are getting it. But if you're not getting into the field as early as possible, you're losing an opportunity for engaging with amazing people. And like you said, working with diverse environment, which is a unique feature that Canada provides you. So I think that's something that I did understand in the beginning, and that really helped.
Mm. Just to carry on with the questions, so you had a successful career in supply chain operations, and then you took a big leap into HR. So, what was that first spark that led to that decision or that move?
So you guys have worked with me, so
Yeah.
you know that I am a person who like believes in process improvements and people development. Any department that really provides this sort of an opportunity or a challenge, uh, I'm down for it. I don't see it as in like that. If I've studied engineering, I've done MBA in supply chain or industrial management. Why am I going in HR? HR also has processes. HR also has operations. So has ER. So has talent acquisition. Why can't we just go in and improve that or have the improvement there? So, I mean, to answer your question, the motivation for me is the opportunities to improve things. Motivation for me is to work with different mindset of or different expertise, people with different expertise, so I can learn from it as well, but also help them grow too. So I think motivation for me is more process improvement driven and people develop.
Right. And I can echo that because one of the learnings from you was about process improvements, and that I have used in my career a lot. Other than that, usually we are all nervous when there's a new change that is coming into our life, right? Especially in a
Mhm.
move from supply chain where you were a pro and then you moved into HR. How did you manage that nervousness or that the time of unknown? How did you manage that?
Like I said, it's first of all, you need to settle in. You need to understand that there will be a change. You will be hitting the wall, and it's okay to do that, right? And it's okay to feel that way. Most important thing is that like you need to know who are the resources, who are the people you're working with. And I was privileged to work with amazing people like you, right? There were a lot of other people as well in the team that helped me with this and along with you guys. So I think knowing the resources, knowing what the challenges are, and also knowing what is your target in your mind. I think that's important for us to understand. I like to work backwards. I always start with what is the end result? What are we trying to achieve? And then work my way backwards because that really helps me to not only get the buy-in from all the stakeholders along the way, but also I'm able to paint the picture properly for my team, for them to understand that what are we doing, why are we doing, and that's an important element. So the challenges were there, 100%. coming out from operations and getting into HR or other functions that I've never thought I'll be leading. But I think that made it easy because I had the same approach. I kept the same approach working backwards and just keeping in mind that this is what we want to achieve and how we will achieve will come along the way.
Are there any specific challenges or any successes which you took away from your previous profession into HR, or maybe back home as you were working that you took back into supply chain operation? Were there any specific challenges or anything that helped you?
Yeah. So as you mentioned in my intro, I'm a data driven person. I believe we're living in this world, it's more of a digital world.
Right.
You have a lot of data around you. You need to understand, like, there's nothing that cannot be measured,
Mm.
right? I have a firm belief in this. Yes, your measurement could be different. Your thought process could be different. How are you reading the things could be different, but it is measurable. What I really thought that would really help me was this approach, like data driven approach, getting into these HR functions or talent acquisition or ER. I feel like this is very important for us that we make a high judgment decision based on the data and facts that we have in front of us. That makes always easy for us to understand the problem statement, but also helps people around us, like all the stakeholders, customers, to understand why are we doing what we're doing. So for me, the biggest takeaway was that I believe, and it's not just me. I'm not saying I'm doing it. I'm sure a lot of people are following the same, and this is the right way to do it too. But for me, it was something that I really wanted to bring it from my ops experience to HR experience because I feel like it gets a lot subjective when it comes to HR, and to reduce the subjectivity is a challenge. And how can we do it? We can do it with the facts and bringing more numbers to it.
Thank you. Rishi?
Yeah. So, as someone who has like thrived in multiple fields, what has been the most significant lesson you have learned from reinventing yourself professionally?
Yeah, it's a interesting question to be very honest. Sometimes when you're too good at something, it can go in an opposite way for you as well. So I've been called number guy a lot for some reason. I don't know why. I liked it in the beginning, but then it started haunting me because people are constantly calling me number guy and not really feeling that I'm also a people person. Where everything that I've done, even in the past or even in the beginning also, I yes, I was talking about numbers. I was talking about all the data in front of me and trying to make sure that people understand through it. But the actual thought process behind that was to really engage the people, make sure that they understand the problem statement, make sure that they know what I'm trying to do, and this is for the development for. But I think I was not doing a good job in really portraying it how it should have been. So people started calling me number person. And it wasn't good for me because that was not the intent. My intent was really to develop people. But I changed that approach. How I changed it, before I was driving the process improvement by working on the process. But then I changed that approach to improve the process by working on people development. It's the same thing, but I think the second option takes you a long way. I always wanted to make sure that people, and now, and I will continue this way. I've been successful in it. That if you work on people development, your team's development, the process improvements will come automatically. I think that's the biggest shift I had in my career that I've seen, and I think it is I'm quite successful in this.
It's great to hear, Zubair. I also think, like, when you change those career path and then when you move, I think it always give you some lesson and then you can also follow the same thing in your next career move, right? Like now you learned something, okay, so I have to develop this. And then when you move to talent acquisition or when you move to ER, do you think those skills were transferable?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I said, I mean, we are living in an environment where you can learn things quickly. Most importantly, knowing your resources. If you're a leader of a team where you have people reporting to you, you need to know what their strengths are, what their opportunities are. And if you remember the way I have always assigned project in my team, I never assign projects on the strengths. I always assign the project on the opportunities for people because working on their strength is not going to develop their expertise. We will not have high retention within the team. People will not feel that they're actually growing. And most importantly, you're not really providing an opportunity for people to really learn something new. So I think if you are working on this model, they need help, you providing them help and resources, but assigning the project on the opportunities where they want to grow, where you think they should grow, is also going to help them to develop themselves, but also learn something new. So in this way, I feel like this is very transferable. I mean, if you work on this model, you're creating leaders for future. I definitely feel like it is transferable. I can change my hat anytime because I always go with the mindset that anything can be improved.
Okay. So, how has your background as an immigrant shaped your approach to leadership and professional challenges?
I think diversity here in Canada has played an impact on my professional career a lot. You get to see a lot of different cultures here. You get an opportunity to work with amazing talent around you. You're not the only talented person. And that's the reality you see. You learn from them. I think that really is a unique feature that you get in Canada. And I'm really happy that I'm working here because I get to know different cultures, which itself is a learning opportunity for anyone coming from their own country only and going into a country like Canada where you have diverse population. But also, I think it's important for us to know how things are done. How do they manage businesses back home? Because they're bringing their learnings, now, like how I did, right, or any other person from my country did. So, and then you learn different leadership styles. Like in my early career time, I never used to wait for more data or more facts gathering. I used to jump on conclusion a lot quicker. uh, was I successful? Maybe. Was I like, I probably had a lot of failures as well. But I think I changed that approach when I came here because I noticed that and I learned that from people around me that it's okay even if you see the solution in front of you uh, quite early in the stage of problem statement, but just calm down. Just take your time. It's okay because you're really trying to build a foundation and a well-oiled machine that you want it to run itself rather than just fixing it for one time. So I think I've learned that and I don't jump on the conclusions now. I try to find all the pros and cons before getting to the final stage. So I think that has helped me a lot here in Canada. So, and that came from a diverse environment opportunity that we get here.
One of the things to add is the best thing I've learned from you is about root cause analysis. For anything that happens, you would always bring up that point of RCA, and that has also helped us in our journeys. Because now we think back on what was the 1% failure or whatever drawbacks had been in that particular project and make it more better for the next time. I think that should make it right. Uh, you are a people person because we have worked under you and we have seen you have had so many managerial positions, leadership positions. What kind of specific leadership style do you follow? And being in different organizations or different teams, you need to have strategic mindset and you are a strategic person. How do you balance these both for your betterment of the department or your team?
You tell me, you have worked with me. What kind of leadership style I have? I like to improve the process by working on people development because that is going to give me or an organization a long run solution. We often, actually, I wouldn't say fail. We often improve the process, but really don't engage the people along the way.
Mhm.
What we are doing wrong in that one is we're not really getting the ownership from people that are working on it or will be working on it. But if you drive the solution from people, getting their buy-in by letting them understand and working on their development and let them make the change. When I say people as in like your team, that is a long run solution. So I think this is my style. This is I always follow. I like to stay close to people development because like, the hiring strategies I have had in the team as well. Like I've always believe in that you can teach anything to anyone as long as they are passionate, as long as they are eager to learn. So Like from the hiring strategy, I always believe in this. If I see that passion, I see that fire, that they're eager to learn, even though if they don't know the job, we'll teach them. But also from their leadership perspective, I believe in people development to drive the process improvements.
Make sure.
That's how I do it. That's a very simple thing. I don't think I'm the only one. I'm sure a lot of other people are doing it.
So, what happens when you become individual contributor as a leader?
I think if you were a leader, people leader before, and then you move to a space where you're more individual contributor, I think it's just more of a word. You're still contributing as a team. You're not working alone in the organization. You still have to influence the other team. I think it's a harder hat to wear in terms of influencing people, whether when you're not even in the leadership role. So it definitely is a challenging role or position you're in because you don't have people reporting to you directly, yet you're expected to deliver. So it definitely teaches you different approaches, how you're going to engage with people that are directly or indirectly in your team, but no one is officially reporting to you. So if you're managing a project and you have team members from different teams working in it and you're a team leader, you're still a leader for that project. Yes, they're not reporting to you, but your mindset should not be changed that you're not a leader. You're a leader. Team, your overall team that is working on that project will move and should move how you want it to be moved, but making sure that they are aligned, they are along the way with you. So I think for me, individual contributor or a people leader is not too different from that perspective, as long as you have this mindset that you have a role to play in an organization as a team, and you're not the only one contributing for the success. Yes, it is called individual contributor, but your contribution goes towards the organization, which has a lot of people leader and a lot of individual contributors. So it is a little bit challenging role compared to people leader from that perspective, but also when it comes to people development and developing your team as a people leader, that itself is a bigger challenge than anything because you're responsible for someone's development, someone on your team, how they are shaping their career going forward. So it's just how you see it, how where people feel comfortable in, right? If someone who is not good in or really not their cup of tea for really talking to a lot of people or engaging with them on a regular basis. Yes, they would like to have an individual contributor role, but people like me who really would like to engage with people on a regular basis and talk to them, I like a team structure better. There's nothing wrong in both. It's just how you see it. End result is that even if you're an individual contributor, you still have an organization, you have a lot of people working there. You just change your approach, how you engage with them.
I would just like to understand from you. We often talk about strategic thinking or critical thinking, which you have. Throughout your journey, how did you develop that thinking or maybe that process within yourself? That could be a great input for us.
So I think going back to that approach, working backwards and try to see the unseen. These are the two things that I have developed over the time. We often miss an opportunity for something that could happen in future or is around us, but we don't see it because we're too narrow and looking at what we're trying to achieve is this, and we got the solution. Let's move forward. I have always kept in my mind, and I've learned from it as well, that even though if you have a target in front of you, yes, you work towards it, make sure your team is working towards it, but you don't keep your eyes away from abnormalities that can happen. Anything that can change or could change your direction towards your target. Target could still be the same, approach can change. So be flexible.
Mhm.
I think that is a strategy that I've learned over the time. In the beginning, I was so rigid and I've learned from it that if I've decided that I'm going from point A to point B in one direction to achieve my target, I will go in that way. But what I've learned now is that the end result is getting to point B. It's not how you're getting to point B from point A. Yes, you need to have a direction set for your team to move, but you also keep in mind that there could be a possibility to change that direction. At the end, as long as you're getting to point B is more important. So I've learned that as a strategy approach for myself and also keeping in mind, try to read the situation ahead of time, like understanding what is important for us to achieve. Try to see the unseen, not just for the projects you're working on. I think biggest opportunity we see is we sometimes miss an opportunity for seeing unseen for people working around us, right? Sometimes they do show that they're not motivated through their work ethics, their attendance, their punctuality, not meeting their deadline, how they used to do it before. I think these are a lot of unseen that we miss as a leader. If you are really practicing, try to see the unseen thing, then you'll see a lot of these things around you that really helps you become a better leader and a person who can engage with their team on a regular basis. I've seen this, I've done it, I still do it. Bottom line is that you need to make sure that if people are working around you, you are their leader. You need to make sure that you're not only
On a personal level, how do you disconnect from work once your work timings are over, and how you disconnect from work, and what do you do during your downtime?
I have 3 kids, love them, obviously. So try to spend time as much as possible with them, with my family. Me and my wife, we always try to make sure that we give them enough time. Well, there's no such thing as enough time for kids, but we try to make sure that we spend time as much as possible with family, friends, and give them different experience. Because I think as much as we spend time with them is important for them, but at the same time, if we provide them opportunities to travel, to engage with different people, they're going to learn from it. We're living in an environment where it's not just your family who they can learn from, but the people outside our family as well. So we try to take them to different cities. We have them involved in some activities as well. I think I'm not doing something new. I'm sure people are doing that as well as a parent. But yeah, outside of work, I try to not bring my work home. That's important. I mean, sometimes you have to, and my family understands that as well. Because if there is an important thing that we need to do, but intention is that once the work is done, it's done. We're not bringing it to our personal life, making sure we're giving our 100% to our family. So that's pretty much it. Nothing new, nothing fancy. I don't know if I answered your
No,
question.
you did. You did. Yeah.
I have a question on that then. So how do you deal with like self-doubt? And as Zubair, like someone who always make data-driven decision, do you also have like self-doubt? Or do you also think, twice before making a decision and how you deal with that?
It's a good question. I think there's a combination of two things here. Sometimes I blindly believe in what we see in front of us from the data perspective,
Mm.
because we also need to make sure that we have bias for action, right? We need to make sure that we are not making things complicated if they are already complicated. So rather than keep wasting time, we have to learn by doing, right? So sometimes we have to take that sort of a decision. So if we are working on that problem we are trying to solve, or a project in which you are in that situation where we don't have time and you are challenged to deliver something quicker, then you have to learn by doing as well. So that strategy comes in there. But if you have something in which you are a little bit flexible and you can wait to make your final decision, I will try my 100% best to see whatever possible outcomes or possible things are there for me to see before I make a final decision. So it's really a combination of both.
What advice would you give to immigrants or professionals looking to reinvent themselves in their career or transition into new fields?
I would say is be open for the opportunities here. There's no harm in changing your professional career as well. I've done it, uh, and I think I've learned a lot from it. Um, uh, Most important thing is you need to be comfortable for coming in someone else's. Like basically, if a new immigrant is coming here, they're the one who's new, and they have to learn the system. And to learn the system, they have to get into the system. The quicker you get into the system, the quicker your learning will start. So my advice to them is obviously to make sure that just grab whatever opportunity you have. Forget about whether it's linked with your past experience or not. If you think that is going to help you, go for it, learn from it, and then pave your journey ahead, because we're in an environment where every other job pretty much is linked to each other. It's just how you see it. Like I said, I never thought will be not or HR or TA. I am, because I see things differently. I don't see these departments any other different than any other department, because I see process improvement and people development for as a priority. So this is my advice to them: just be open. And like, you came here for a better life, to gain more opportunities, and the opportunities are coming, then grab them.
So thanks, Zubair, for giving your time for this session. And we believe whoever listens to this would have a good takeaway for the knowledge and the inputs you have provided to have a more strategic and people-oriented thinking, which helps us to also understand how we can develop different professions and not hold back ourselves from something which we have not done, but to face it more strong. Thanks once again for your time, and we wish you all the best.